Part 3. The Harvest of Union. The Saturday of the market dawned with a sky of a rare, clean winter cobalt blue, as if the universe itself was giving its blessing. Spitalfields Market, with its Victorian cast-iron structure and cobbled floors, was transformed into a stage of colors, sounds, and aromas. Luca and Matt, helped by Eleanor and Matt's girlfriend, the energetic teacher Beatrice, had worked since sunrise setting up the white stalls that fluttered gently in the breeze. The root and branch logo, a stylized tree whose roots and branches intertwined to form a perfect circle, stood out on each one. The nerves were palpable, a metallic taste in everyone's mouth. This was their last shot. At 10 in the morning, the first people began to arrive. A trickle that, to Luca's despair, remained slow for the first hour. He paced back and forth, obsessively checking his phone, his face a picture of anxiety. Matt, on the other hand, tried to keep spirits up, chatting animatedly with the makers, whose faces also began to show concern. Then it happened. An article in the local paper about two childhood friends trying to revitalize local commerce, combined with Matt's visually stunning marketing campaign, began to bear fruit. A group of tourists appeared. Then, local families, and suddenly the market began to fill up. The trickle became a steady flow, and the flow became a lively crowd. The air filled with the sound of animated chatter. The smell of fresh sourdough and scones a producer was selling, the clinking of wooden spoons on Staffordshire pottery. The root and branch makers were in their element, telling the stories behind their products. The woman who knitted lamb's wool blankets with traditional patterns. The young man who made artisan goat's cheese. The couple who created jewelry inspired by London's architecture. Luca and Matt were no longer managing. They were living the moment. Luca, surprisingly, discovered a talent for sales, passionately explaining the root and branch philosophy to every curious customer. Matt, with his camera, captured the moments of genuine connection, a customer laughing with a potter, a child admiring a wooden toy. Eleanor and Beatrice ran the small till like a Formula One team, with an efficiency that impressed Luca. By late afternoon, the success was undeniable. Many of the makers had sold out completely. The central root and branch stall, where they sold experience kits with products from various creators, was completely wiped out. The exhaustion on Luca and Matt's faces was no longer from despair, but from an exhausted and deeply satisfied happiness. As the team began to dismantle the stalls under the golden evening light, Amita and Matt stepped away, leaning against the market's iron railings. They looked at what they had achieved, not in terms of profit, which they quickly calculated would be enough to pay the back rent and reinvest, but in terms of impact, they had created something real. "We did this," said Matt, his voice laden with emotion. "Us. 2 brains, 1 mission." Luca put an arm around his friend's shoulders, a simple gesture that sealed the complete reunion of their friendship. "We did, and it wasn't my spreadsheet or your drawings that saved the day. It was this." He pointed to the market, to the people. It was remembering why we started it. The victory was not just financial, it was emotional and relational. To celebrate the following week, Luca and Matt organized a dinner together with Eleanor and Beatrice. It was a noisy night, full of laughter, where the two women, who until then had only known each other by sight, found themselves laughing at the same things and sharing their own stories about their partner's stubbornness and genius. At that dinner, Root and Branch ceased to be just a business run by 2 friends. It became a project uniting 2 families. The following months saw organic and solid growth. The market's success catapulted the visibility of the online platform. New creators joined, attracted by the story of resilience and the community being built. Luca and Matt had learned their lesson. Their strength lay not in the absence of conflict, but in how they reconciled and united in the face of adversity. 1 year later, on a summer afternoon, the 2 families were gathered in the garden of the house. Luca and Eleanor had just bought in the home counties. It's the children of a mutual friend, the future. Suggesting both families had moved forward in that chapter ran across the lawn, their shouts of joy filling the air. Luca and Eleanor, hand in hand, watched Matt and Beatrice animatedly discussing the decoration of their own flat, recently renovated in Islington. Luca looked at this picture, his wife, his best friend, the family he had helped create, the life they had built together, and felt a profound peace. Root and Branch was now a respectable business, but its greatest legacy was not in the sales reports. It was there in that garden, in that unbreakable bond that had been tempered in the fire of failure and solidified in the victory of union. He turned to Matt, who was approaching with 2 bottles of ale in hand. "You know," said Luca, accepting his bottle, "a year ago, we were drowning. Now, look at this." Matt followed his gaze, a serene smile on his face. "Well," he said, tapping his bottle against Luca's with a soft clink, "now we're rooted." It was true. The seed of their childhood friendship, nearly killed by the winter of doubt, had not only survived, but had blossomed, stronger and more beautiful than ever, bearing fruit that would nourish their families for a lifetime. The true root and branch of all their success, they finally understood, had never been a business idea. It had always been their friendship. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel.